The wind crystal shatters. The winds fail. Ships stand still, unable to fill their sails. The world races to its end. Unless a handful of heroes can protect the remaining crystals, the world will fall into ruin. Set off on a grand adventure in the finest version of Final Fantasy V ever released. Experience Final Fantasy V in its truest form, as enhanced graphics, sound, and story bring new life to the Warriors of Light. Explore the new Sealed Temple using all new additions to the vast job system, like the sinister Necromancer and the explosive Cannoneer. Enhance your enjoyment with the detailed bestiary and a music player. Study your foes or listen to the improved soundtrack anytime you want. And ignore the last half of that, because that is clearly not for the Super Nintendo version. That is one of the billion remakes, re-releases, reports, whatever of Final Fantasy V from Squaresoft, released in 1992. Let's take a look. Oh, here's an interesting thing and some trivia. If you have a party full of only berserkers, you will be unable to run from battles. But if one of them has the chicken knife equipped and the knife's fleeing ability activates, then the game glitches to negate all future damage. This will leave the battle at a stalemate, since neither side can kill the other. Great job. Squaresoft released Final Fantasy V in Japan only quite some time ago. It was not re-released into America till quite a bit later. But it is available in a translated ROM and is also on the... Where did that list go? PlayStation, Game Boy Advance, the Wii Virtual Console, PSN, Android, iOS, the Wii U Virtual Console, Windows, and the new 3DS Virtual Console. All of the Nintendo platforms there being the Super Nintendo version, minus the Game Boy Advance one. So, here's a neat little thing. It was ported to other systems with minor differences, like the PlayStation and Game Boy Advance. An original video animation produced in 1994 called Final Fantasy Legend of the Crystals serves as a sequel to the events depicted in this game. I believe I have actually seen that. I think I rented it from a video place forever and ever ago. There you go. Final Fantasy V has been praised for its freedom of customization that the player has over the characters, achieved through a greatly expanded job system. Despite being released only in Japan, the Super Famicom version sold more than 2 million copies. The PlayStation version has earned greatest hit status, selling more than 350,000. Plays just like any other Final Fantasy game you've ever seen before. It increases the functionality of the job system that was available in 1 and 3. We have level ups, we have all the stats, we have the magic, we have the menu-based management system. This is the second game to use the ATB, which was first established in Final Fantasy IV. But 4 didn't have the bar. Big deal. I don't care. I don't need the bar. I can just, after a while, you know who's fast. It's fine. The main feature is the job system. You can freely select jobs, also called classes, for their characters to master, allowing each character to gain special abilities and potentially master all 22 jobs, 26 in the Game Boy Advance version, because why are you going to buy the same game twice? I know, we'll put someone else, we'll give everybody 3 new hats to wear. Each character begins with the freelancer, and then from there you acquire jobs through crystal shards, which you can change at any time, and then master skills, etc., etc. There are some active skills that you have to use in battle. There are some passive skills. There are some skills that will work on the world map, like a thief being able to dash, and things like that. I'm not going to get too heavy into the story and everything here, just because there's a lot of it. I will tell you, just in my own little review, I guess, of this. While I like the gameplay, I think the gameplay is fine. I think this is a weak entry into the series, and I know a lot of people don't agree with me on that. But the villain is not interesting enough to be. I mean, he's literally a tree given life, a tree given flesh. I don't know. He hangs out, spoiler alert, he hangs out in someone's finger as a splinter, and that is mentioned in one line of text, and then you forget about it immediately, and then an hour and a half later it pops up. Ow, this thing in my finger. Oh no, it's a giant evil sorcerer tree. Yeah. Basically, what this game feels like to me is it took everything that Final Fantasy III did and wanted to expand on it and made it this, but I think 3 did it better. Myself, we've got different worlds, we've got all the job classes, we've got all that other kind of stuff going on. And 3 didn't have the ridiculous villain. Final Fantasy V has sold 2.45 million units on the Famicom, including 2 million in its first 2 months, while the Game Boy Advance version sold nearly 260,000 copies as of December 2007. The Final Fantasy Collection sold over 400,000 in 1999, making it the 31st best-selling release of that year in Japan. In North America, the release of Anthology sold 364,000 copies as of 2004. The original Super Famicom version received a positive critical reception upon release, with Famitsu's 4 reviewers giving it 34 out of 40, and the first Game Fan Golden Mega Awards, it's just making words up, awarded it for Best Import Game and Best Music from an Import Game of 92. Retrospectively, 1UP staff stated that while the game's story was very weak, told you, the gameplay was another story, heavily praising the job system and the feature to combine abilities from different job classes, and gave it a B-. All Games retrospective reviews shared similar sentiments regarding the storyline and job system, adding praise for the addition of hidden events and items for players to search for, giving it a 3.5. RP Gamer gave it a mixed retrospective review, stating that it improved on the visual presentation, menu system, and overall field navigation of 4, but the maddeningly high encounter rate, average sound selection, and washed out color palette hurt the game's presentation, giving it a 5 out of 10. So, here's where I'm going to disagree with that one. I don't think the visuals are better in this than they were in 4. I think 4 looks better, and I don't necessarily think the colors are washed out in this game. I think it's almost too colorful, and it makes it look really, really cartoony. And I think that hurts it. I do think the music was better in 4. I don't know how the menu system in this is really better. It's essentially the same thing, just with a different layout. So I don't know. The Anthology version got positive to mixed reviews. The Game Boy Advance release had mostly positive reviews. So there's at least, 4 versions of this game. Game Rankings gave the Super Nintendo version a 66, but the Game Boy Advance an 82. Metacritic gave the Game Boy Advance an 83, and the iOS an 85. 1UP gave the Super Nintendo a B- and the Game Boy an A. All Game gave the Super Nintendo 4 out of 5. Famitsu gave both versions, Super NES and GBA, 34 out of 40. RP Gamer gave it a 5 out of 10. This is near the bottom of my favorite Final Fantasy games. And since I've gone back and kind of replayed 2 not too long ago, I'm even going to put 2 over this because I think the story in 2 is better. I don't love the story in this game. And the combat is just normal Final Fantasy combat, but with jobs. But we've had that before. So, I don't know. It's not bad. It's absolutely one you should play, but I don't think you go into it expecting it to be great. A lot of the replayability and a lot of the content in this game derives wholly from the job system, which I think makes it a little weak compared to a game like the first Final Fantasy game where you can't change jobs, but there's still plenty to do. Final Fantasy III lets you change jobs, but I don't feel like you have to devote so much time to it in 3 as you do in this game. And Final Fantasy Tactics, I think, handles the job system probably perfectly. I think that's probably the best example of the job system that we've got in a Final Fantasy game.